The seasons are changing, and I, for one, couldn't be happier. After what's been a long and difficult winter, the feeling of life and warmth is finally starting to return. As we enter spring, our waters begin to awaken, with sea temperatures creeping back up and fish like plaice, bream, smoothhounds, and a whole host of species that we all love to target start to move back inshore. And I'm back down Sandbanks for probably my last winter session down here, as we're about to see in spring. Well, we're off the mark. First cast, first fish, a nice little schoolie bass. As simple as it gets on a 2-hook flapper with a bit of ragworm. Yeah, great start. So tactics for tonight are about as simple as they get. That bass I've just caught is on a very simple 2-hook flapper with, I think, a size 2 hook. So really small hooks. I'm hoping I can pick up a little flatfish or something. But, you know, I won't say no to a little bass like that. And that's been flopped out probably 40, 50 yards, if that. Yeah, the fishing's turning on, guys. I can definitely feel it. So, back down Sandbanks, and probably for my last session down here until next winter, or autumn, I should say. Reason being, it's 14th of March. Tomorrow, the 15th of March, is when the car parking prices rocket right back up. I think tonight it's cost me probably, I don't know, 2-3 quid, something like that, for basically the night. And it's free parking after 10 PM. As of tomorrow, this session would have cost me, I think, 12, 15 quid for an evening session, which is just ridiculous. As the summer nights draw in, the beaches get busier. I tend to fish them a little bit less. Maybe the quieter spots like Hengistbury, Chesil, of course, you can, find space. But yeah, I don't spend too much around here in summer. So, with it being probably my last session at Sandbanks for quite some time, at least on the shore, feels like a good time to just sit back and reflect over the last few months fishing. Winter fishing, really. It's been pretty mixed, I would say. I have had some really special fish out, some really special moments, but it has been a tough winter. Let's have a look back, see what we've done. So first up, let's go back to September, which strictly speaking is autumn, I guess, but for me, that's when the fishing the season starts to change, the species kind of chop and change, and that's of course when we had our big Chesil trip. 4 days down Chesil, taking 3 of my mates, 2 that had never really fished at all, and 1 that was just a carp fisherman. And yeah, to be honest, it was a big disappointment, that trip, in terms of fish caught. We had big swelly conditions, dirty coloured water, but just wasn't to be for that trip. However, it was still fantastic fun. It was great to see some of the guys, some of my friends, get into sea fishing, catch their first fish, and actually enjoy it. So overall, that was good, but no special fish. The next notable session that comes to my mind, we had some great ray fishing off Southbourne, don't get me wrong, which I can't forget. Nothing incredible, no stunning fish. I think the biggest rays that I think we pulled out of Southbourne towards the end of last year were probably 4 or 5 pound rays. But, good fish, enjoyable, really fun fish. I wouldn't mind some of them tonight, actually. But I think going back to October, and this very, very spot where I'm stood right now, that groin right there that I'm stood next to, where I flopped a bit of mackerel head and guts out, and caught my PB bass. That was a fantastic moment. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it, honestly. It was so unexpected. Everything was going wrong that night. It was peeing down with rain. I forgot my jacket, forgot my coat. Didn't think I had a hope in hell. And then suddenly, slam. Yeah, awesome. Then, I think the most notable session after that would have been our trip to Bristol, the Bristol Channel, which again was pretty dire. A bit of a disappointment. Really, really were keen for some big rays, some big conger, but it just didn't happen. Although it was a really good trip from an experience point of view, just to get a taste of the Bristol Channel, start to learn some of the marks, get a feel for it. I've said this before, but it's a completely different beast to the shoreline that we're, a big tide for us here is between 2-3 meters, something like that. There, 10 plus meters, you're literally walking up and down hills as the tide moves. It's crazy. And the snags there, don't even get me started on the snags. So yeah, not a great trip, but a good learning curve or learning experience, and enjoyable nonetheless. 2 casts, 2 fish. It's not the same one, I promise. Oh, right, well, we'll try and get through this without getting interrupted by more fish, but 2 casts, 2 fish. I have also got a ray rod out, by the way, or a ray rig, which I've sent out at a bit of distance. There's quite a bit of tide out there tonight. We've got some big tides. We are in Springs. It is ripping through, which I'm hoping will mean good fishing, but we'll see. Anyway, where were we? So, we had our Bristol Channel trip. Great learning curve, but not, not the best fishing. Wow, what the hell is that? There's something amazing on the Isle of Wight that I will need to show you, and I don't know what I'm looking at. Hang on. What the hell is that? I don't know how well that's going to come out on camera, especially in this darkness. Probably not very well. But there's a massive orange glow, or like red glow. Is that the moon? Oh, wow. Is that the moon? That is stunning, guys. I think it is. That is huge. Well, I just know it's going to be one of those situations where the camera just will not do it justice. But yeah, that is something special. It's actually now gone. There's literally, I can see the moon on the horizon. It's now dipped kind of behind the clouds again. There was a slight gap where I could see it, and now it's disappearing into the clouds again. And I don't think we'll see it again tonight unless this cloud base clears, because it's pretty overcast. But yeah, that was amazing. I'll take that as a sign of fresh new season, new fishing. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm seriously excited, guys. Anyway, where were we? So, December saw our Bristol Channel trip. Moving into January, we started to get a bit more out on the boat. I was able to take Josh and Darren out on their first boat fishing trip. Again, that was a bit of a meh kind of trip. I think we had a couple bass out on the lures, which I was pleased to see. Pleased to get at least one of them, Darren, catching, but it was a bit, yeah, meh. And then after that, obviously, we've been able to get out on the Sib. The Sib is the new part of the Seasmith fleet, a boat that I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this year. I think even out of Muddyford, even though we've got the bigger boats, I really enjoy that Sib for some reason. You feel so just connected with the sea, and it feels, I don't know, it feels a bit more raw and a bit more exciting. And I can get in and out of really shallow areas that I just can't really get into with the bigger boats because of the deeper draft, of course. So Poole Harbour fishing in Christchurch Harbour, there's some amazing places I can fish with the Sib that I won't be able to fish with the other boats. And of course, the last video you would have maybe seen, if you've seen it, was my session on the Sib where I had that double figure blonde, which I'm still buzzing about. That's actually last time I was fishing. I haven't fished for 2 weeks. I haven't actually beach fished for nearly a month. 4 weeks. 4 weeks today, I think it was, or 4 weeks tomorrow. It's Friday today, Saturday tomorrow. So it's nearly a month since I last beached or shore fished. So I'm happy to get back out. Let's have a look back at that blonde ray again, because I'm still buzzing. Oh guys, maybe not. I don't think the story's over quite yet. I was reeling this in. I didn't even see a bite. There's a fish on it, and there's some weight to it as well. Get the bend in that rod. Oh, come on then. What the hell is this? Oh my gosh. What the? Oh yes. Come on. Oh, I've just re-spooled this reel as well, and I'm glad I did now. It's got a fresh 80-pound braid on. Come on, this has got to be a ray. Because it just won't come off the bottom. Alright, there we go. Oh wow. What a way to christen the Sib. Absolutely stunning fish. So there we have it. That's kind of my winter roundup, I guess. The highs and lows of what's been a difficult but I would say overall enjoyable fishing season. I'd love to know how your winter's gone, how your last month's few fishing sessions have gone. So do let me know in the comments. Genuinely, I'd like to hear how everyone's getting on. But what's next? Most importantly, as I say, spring is kicking in. You can just feel it in the air. The temperature's starting to warm. The fishing is just starting to liven up a little bit. I'm seeing all sorts of flatfish caught on our south coast. I've seen some nice fish come out actually over the last week or so from Steamers Point and Southbourne and Sandbanks and this area. It just seems to be starting to switch on a bit, which is flipping nice to know because, yeah, as I say, it has been tough. So the next big date, I think, for me and the channel will be, we've got lots of sessions planned in over the next few months. I'm hoping to get out to the Shambles probably May time for some turbot. I really want to take off a big turbot this year. We'll see how the May bloom is this year. If it's really, really bad, then I might wait till June, but I'm definitely going to be doing that in the next few months. So, other than the Shambles, we'll of course have loads of sessions in between. We'll go down to Chesil again. We'll do some more sessions, probably hit Southbourne a little bit, but in the peak summertime, I tend to avoid it. And of course, we'll get out of Muddyford, go around the Needles, off the big banks, off the south of Isle of Wight, get into some shark fishing again, all that good stuff. But the one I'm really excited for, and the one I've gone on about too much on the channel, I think, lately, but I think about it every day, so I can't apologise too much, is our big trip to Cornwall in June. This is the one I'm super excited for this year, for this season. So one of the main reasons I bought the Sib, so the plan is 5 days on the River Fowl. We're at a campsite, and we're camping literally about 100 metres away from the river's edge. So we're going to be up at the crack of dawn, straight in the Sib, out on the river. We're going to be targeting big gilthead out there. I want to get into some big huss, some big eels. I've got all my marks already lined up. We'll definitely hit some of the inshore reefs, and if we get calm enough weather, we'll steam out 10-15 miles into some of the deeper wrecks. I'd love to get a big ling. I've never had a ling. Tried them a few times with some of the wrecks that are local to us, but our kind of Poole, Christchurch Bay, unless you're going beyond 10 miles, it's quite a shallow area. You struggle to get past 20-30 metres unless, as I say, you're going off quite some distance. Whereas you don't need to go too far to find some quite deep wrecks out there and some good ling, conger, pollock fishing. So I really want to maximise that and get the most out of it. So I'm super excited for that trip. But as I say, loads of other trips in between, loads more fishing to come, and hopefully a fantastic season ahead of us. As I said before though, let me know how it's been for you guys, what you're excited to catch this year, what some of your targets are going to be, and tight lines, eh? Send this one out a little bit. Oh, there we go. Send it. Oh, a lovely, freshly spooled reel this is. Did it last week. She's casting nicely. Tell you what, another sign that it's moving into spring and into the better season for fishing is before I came down here, I went and dug some ragworm. I often like to dig my own bait if I can. I find it's a very satisfying experience when you source your own bait, you catch your own fish, and then especially if you take some for the table and then eat it, it's yeah, I don't know, just very satisfying. But anyway, for anyone that does dig ragworm or any worm really, well, forages for most bait in the winter can be really difficult, but especially when digging with worm or digging for worm. The ragworm in the frost and the freezing temperatures, the colder winter months, they tend to go deeper. You've kind of got to dig harder and for longer for, you know, to scrap out enough for a session. But today, honestly, every other shovel was probably a king rag, and then each shovel was 2-3 rag a spade. So it's always satisfying when it's like that. You can spend a good 45 minutes and have enough worm for the weekend, which is exactly what I did actually. So I am out tonight, of course, at Sandbanks. I was supposed to be fishing with Shane off of Fishing Dorset Live, of course, but you had to reschedule. But I thought I need to get some bait, so I might as well come down here and have a session, especially as I haven't fished off the beach for about a month. So I'm pleased I have, because it's yeah, really lovely evening, and so far it's been enjoyable. But tomorrow, Saturday, I am heading down to Southbourne. So I've got a weekend full of fishing to make up for the lack of it last week. But yeah, I'm going to be meeting up with Martin, who of course you would have seen on the last few videos. He's been out on the Sib with me. He's been, obviously went to Chesil together. So we're going to hit Southbourne and hopefully get into some rays there. Again, actually, it's going to be the same tactics as tonight. Rays and flatfish really is going to be my approach. One ray rod and one flatty rod. We'll see if we can't winkle out a place ourselves. As I say, they've been showing that moon is starting to try and creep through now. You might just, I don't know if it's going to show on camera. Again, I'll never do it justice, but yeah, beautiful moon tonight. Well, I've just been sat relaxing, soaking up the shoreline, enjoying that hazy moon that you can probably see over my shoulder. Really lovely evening tonight, and it's nice because it's not bitterly cold. You know, it's not warm yet. I'm still in a coat and my salopettes, but you know, I haven't got gloves on. I'm not like struggling to keep warm. It's yeah, really pleasant evening. With that being said, though, since darkness has set, the bites have actually stopped, which is a little bit unfortunate and a little bit surprising as well. Normally, of course, when darkness sets in, the fishing picks up. But yeah, since those couple bass that we had early on, a nice little flurry of fish, it's died off. I've had nothing. Not through lack of trying, of course. We've been changing the rigs every 20-30 minutes. Had fresh baits out there pretty much all night, but just seems to have slowed down. Still, I'm not too concerned. I'm not too fussed. It's fantastic to be back out on the beach, to get the rods out. And what a lovely evening to enjoy it in, eh? And there's still time for something to happen. Right, well, we'll take this opportunity to, well, we've got a lull in the fishing. So one, rebait. Rebait our rigs. And also, what I'll do is I'll give you a bit of information about Sandbanks. For those that might not be local, and obviously if you're interested in fishing the area, then I'll tell you what I know. So Sandbanks as a venue sits just outside of Poole Harbour. I've got the Poole Harbour and the chain ferry, the Sandbanks chain ferry, just to my right, which also means you have the second largest natural harbour in the world, I believe that is, Poole Harbour. So it's a lot of water that can flow out of that harbour into the area here. Now, I do believe that, wow, yeah, my sand eel and squid bait has been completely stripped, which is not a good sign. Well, could be, but could also be crabs, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of water that can flood out of that harbour. So I tend to avoid fishing this area if we've had a lot of rainfall, because there'll be a lot of fresh water that comes out of the harbour. You've got the River Frome that runs into the harbour. And of course, a lot of rainwater can flood out of there if we've had a lot. What it also means is you can get quite a strong tide pool just around the corner there. In fact, exceptionally strong tide. It doesn't really impact you too much here. You can fish this in most states. It's actually quite a nice venue because if we've got a strong southwesterly, a lot of the south coast can be very unfishable. But because you've got Studland and Old Harry Rocks kind of that juts out just to the side here, it completely shelters this area of the bay. If you go further down, you've kind of got your Bournemouth Beach and your Southbournes, your Boscombs that way. If we've got strong southwesterlies, then yeah, they can become washing machines. But Sandbanks, you can definitely get away with. it. Now, in terms of the species you can expect to catch here, in summer, you can catch all your typical stuff. You can get your rays here. We've had some good ray fishing from here last year. We had small eyes and all sorts. Flatfish, it's quite a good mark for sole, flounder, plaice. A lot of that kind of stuff gets picked up here. Bass, really great bass mark, I think. I mean, you get a lot of bass coming in and out of the harbour. So you can quite often catch them, I think, here. Hence why I had 2 bass tonight. And of course, my PB bass came from, as we mentioned earlier, this exact spot. You can also get your other stuff. Bream, definitely bream show up here in numbers. It can be good bream fishing. And your eels, that kind of stuff. You don't really get much in terms of, we don't get the whole bay, I would say, kind of Southbourne, Sandbanks. We don't really get played by dogfish, which is quite a nice thing. They will come up every now and then, but They're not a bit of a pest fish, as some may call them, and as you get them in other areas. But they will show up. In terms of the actual kind of seabed and the terrain, so there's lots of these different bays with groins in between. You can either fish off the groins if you want a little bit of distance, or if you want to get off the sand, which can be sometimes nice. Or I normally would fish off the sand, set up my little base on the shelter, and make myself home. Now, if you use navionics to suss out your marks, what you'll see right in front of me is quite a distinguished gully, and it is actually marked out by a buoyage system. So your red and green cans that you would get for the boats. Although I think it's dark now, but from memory, I'm pretty sure it's green posts along the groins, and the red cans, the portside cans are, of course, other side of the gully. You can actually see the red cans because they have flashing lights on them at night time. So you can kind of gauge where that gully is quite nicely because of the buoyage system and fish right into it. I normally just plonk my lines kind of into the gully rather than trying to get other side of it. If you've got a good cast on it, you probably could, but I normally don't bother. I normally kind of sit one far side of the gully and then one really close in. So yeah, if you haven't already fished Sandbanks, I would definitely recommend it. It's a really nice, really enjoyable place to be. As I say, you get amazing sunsets and beautiful scenery around here. You can see Old Harry Rocks, as I mentioned. Not you can't at the moment because it's pitch black, but in the distance, and I can still see Isle of Wight. I can see, on a good day, you can see the Needles and all of Boscombe and Bournemouth and Southbourne all lit up in front of you. It's yeah, a really lovely venue. And of course, £1 million houses sat behind me here, which is not always the backdrop you have for a lot of marks around the UK, but this one has them. So yeah, if you haven't tried Sandbanks, give it a go. Actually, another one before I forget, for you lure fishermen out there, this can be a really enjoyable lure spot. In fact, I know a few guys that will do a nice circuit where they start of Sandbanks, lure fish off all the groins, and you can pick up bass, mackerel, especially in season, of course, and then head to the run, the entrance to Poole Harbour, which can be a really good lure fishing, bass fishing spot, especially underneath the ferry. You're not supposed to fish underneath the ferry or kind of too close to it, but I know a lot of people that do and they get away with it. But what you can do is you can pay, I don't know how much it is, but it's dirt cheap, £1 or £2, whatever it is, as a foot passenger on the chain ferry and go across to the other side and continue your lure fishing there. And then you've got kind of Studland Bay, you've got Knoll Beach and all that area, which again can offer some fantastic fishing. So yes, something for everyone, I think, around here. Well, it looks like that's all she's got in store for us tonight. I'm going to fish out the rest of these baits, but doesn't look like anything's happening. We've just come to the top of the tide now. So we're on slack, and yeah, I think we'll call it quits. Got a big session ahead of me tomorrow with Martin down Southbourne, so look out for that video. Hopefully we can find some fish and we'll get some nice rays on the bank. That'll be good. Do let me know though how it's been for you this winter. Let me know in the comments how your sessions have been and what you look to target later this year. What are you excited to really get into now the fishing is going to start picking up and we're going to move into that spring summer season? I'm definitely excited. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.